Stop putting yourself last. In this video, we're going to talk about why you need to be positively selfish and start putting yourself first. So I work with a lot of high-performing entrepreneurs, and one of the things that they all have in common is that they have a tendency to put themselves last. Now, this tendency comes from a good place, a noble place, which is that they care about other people and they care about the well-being of their friends, their family, and their employees. But unfortunately, they end up being the last in the pecking order. And as a result, their health suffers, their well-being suffers, energy, finances, everything. And so I believe that it's very important that you become positively selfish. And that's a term that I learned from my friend Russ Scala. I love this term, being positively selfish, because being selfish obviously has a negative connotation, but being positively selfish, on the other hand, is something different. And being positively selfish is important because you cannot pour from an empty cup. And what being positively selfish means is to put yourself first in all of your endeavors. Putting yourself first doesn't necessarily mean at the expense of other people's well-being, but your guiding mantra when it means being positively selfish is that you make sure that you go to the gym when you need to. You make sure that you eat properly and take care of your diet. You take care of your mental and emotional well-being. Those things don't come last, because if they come last, then everyone else suffers as a result. Nobody else wins if you're at the bottom of the pecking order and you put yourself last. So here's the thing, the important thing to understand is that the well-being of other people does not have to come at the sacrifice of your well-being. We have this idea in our society, I don't know where it comes from, maybe from the Middle Ages or from the Industrial Revolution, but wherever it comes from is this idea that we must sacrifice ourselves at the altar of success in order to have the life that we want, and that we must, being successful, being healthy, and having it all, they are an either-or equation. But I don't like to play the or game. I like to play the and game. I don't want to be successful or healthy. I'd rather be successful and healthy, and I imagine you do too. And it all starts with having the right mindset, and the right mindset is to put yourself first. Now, it's not selfish to put yourself first. Actually, that's a form of manipulation and guilt tripping when you think about it. People say, oh, you're going to the gym, you're selfish. What's selfish about being energetic, feeling positive, having a good physique, feeling confident, being disciplined? There's nothing negative about it when you think about it. Think about it logically, but rarely do we take the time to put our beliefs under the microscope and evaluate them and see the impact that they're having on our lives. And it's not until we look at our beliefs and how they're impacting us that we can see them for what they really are. And oftentimes when we do put them under the microscope, they end up falling like a house of cards. And one of those beliefs that really doesn't hold any weight is the fact that you're selfish for taking care of yourself. Self-care is not selfish. So the other thing that it's important to understand here is that there's not a world where people don't benefit from you being happier, healthier, more energetic. Think about that. Where does it say that you have to sacrifice yourself and that you must work 12, 14 hours a day without breaks and that you don't have time to go to the gym, etc., etc.? These are all stories that you've probably told yourself over a period of time, and unconsciously you've just begun to accept them. Your business is not going to fail if you go to the gym for 30 minutes. Your business is not going to fail if you meditate for 5 minutes. And your family isn't going to suffer if you go to the gym for 30 minutes. Your family is only going to benefit because you're not going to be tired and cranky and irritable. You're going to be present, energized, more engaged, happier, and more fulfilled. There's really no downside to any of this, but we often tell ourselves, and we don't think about critically about the way that we're talking to ourselves. We often tell ourselves that all this stuff is selfish and we buy into it. And people, maybe along the way, people have guilt tripped you. Being positively selfish, as I like to call it, is somehow wrong. But I'm here to tell you that everyone benefits and you benefit. When you feel good, life starts to get really good because you only attract what you are. So if you feel good, that means your energetic magnet for attracting things into your life is really highly, highly magnetized. But equally, if you're not feeling bad, then you're not going to attract the type of opportunities, the type of people that you really want or need into your life. It's very difficult to do that when you're not in a good place and not taking care of yourself. So really from a pragmatic standpoint, feeling good, being positively selfish is going to create more opportunities for you in life. It's certainly going to help with your finances. It's going to help with your relationships. It's certainly going to help you improve your performance in business. And to be honest, you're going to have a much more fulfilling, enjoyable life as a result. And one of my core values is to make sure that my life is as enjoyable as possible, moment to moment. And I think it's very, very difficult to be present and to really enjoy your life if you're not pouring into you. You can't pour into other people if you don't pour into yourself first. As the saying goes, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you truly do care about other people, if you truly do love your family and you really want the best for them, you must therefore want the best for yourself, because if you really care for them, then they deserve the best version of you. And the best version of you is not one that's always overworked, too tired, stressed out, can't be present. The best version of you is the one that's energized, that's present, that's really caring, that's really there, is really does things to the best of their ability. There's a confident individual who's calm, who's relaxed. So you can see where I'm going with this. And so hopefully over the course of this conversation, you've bought into the idea that being positively selfish is a positively good idea for you. So the biggest takeaway from today is don't buy into the psyop that going to the gym, that taking care of yourself, that self-care is selfish. It's actually quite the opposite. So whenever I explain this concept to high-performing individuals like yourself who's watching this video, and I explain it in a logical, simple manner like this, it's very easy to grasp and understand that putting yourself first is very important. And I think that anyone watching this video, we can intellectually accept this idea, but it's another thing to emotionally accept it and to believe it and to apply it into our lives. And the only way that we're going to apply it and not get bogged down in our day-to-day lives is to have it at the forefront of our mind as a guiding mantra. And so the only way that you can do that is to be present and aware of how you're thinking and acting moment to moment. Otherwise, what happens is that we get sidetracked by day-to-day life. 96 to 8% of thinking is unconscious. That means we're on automatic mode. Therefore, if you're not thinking consciously, which is roughly 2 to 4% of our waking lives, which is kind of scary when you think about it, if you're not aware of the way that you're thinking, you're going to be pulled into automatic, habitual autopilot mode. And you're going to go back to how you were behaving before, which is putting yourself last. And therefore, you're the one who's losing out and everyone else around you is losing out because you're not the best version of yourself. You're not feeling great, right? So you need to be aware of those little habits and those little things that you tell yourself, oh, I don't have time for the gym right now. Oh, no, actually, I do have time for the gym. It's very important to me. I know that everyone else benefits. Whatever you need to do in your mind to sell yourself on that idea, to make it clear in your mind, whether it's for your own benefit, whether it's for your family's benefit, whether it's for your employees' benefit, whoever it is, whatever you need to do to sell it in your mind, you need to sell it in your own mind. You know what your own triggers are, what motivates you, what gets you going, what lights the fire in your belly. And if you don't know what those triggers are, I encourage you to sit down and think about what they are and write them down. And there's no time like the present, so do that after you've finished watching this video, right? But you really need to sell yourself on those ideas and understand during the day, when am I putting myself last? Because if you're going to change the behavior, you need to be aware of when you're doing it, right? So the only way to start doing that is to start thinking in a different way. Start being aware and noticing when you're putting yourself last and reject those ideas. Start putting yourself first and you're going to benefit from it immensely.